Hi, I'm Anna, and welcome to the Sommpour Deep Cut. When most of us reach D5, the WSET Diploma exam for fortified wines, there's a quiet assumption in the background. This is manageable. A smaller unit, fewer regions, clearer styles. After the scale of D3, it almost feels like something you can get through without too much strain. But the reality is different. Very few diploma students drink fortified wines regularly. They're not part of our weekly tasting sets, and they aren't bottles we open casually. So D5 looks simple at first glance, and it isn't. Not in the way the exam demands. D5 isn't difficult because the material is huge. It's difficult because the paper expects precision under a tight combined tasting and theory time frame. 90 minutes, 3 wines, and 3 to 4 theory questions. And the marking is exacting. Because D3 stretches how widely you can think, and D5 checks how precisely you can, and that difference matters far more than most students realize. Most candidates don't lose marks because they don't know the wines. They lose marks because they blur the details that actually score: fortification timing, floor conditions, biological versus oxidative aging, the aged tawny ladders, sweetness pathways, the difference between estufa gem and Cantiro. D5 rewards accuracy, not broad familiarity. For me, the shift came when I stopped trying to memorize every style and instead followed the logic that connects them. Once you understand sequence, fermentation, fortification, aging, the whole unit becomes coherent. Everything starts with timing. If you understand when fermentation is stopped or not stopped, you understand most of D5. Port arrests fermentation early, preserving sweetness and tannin. VDN arrests midway, keeping aromatics and natural sugar. Sherry ferments dry because anything meaningful happens. Madeira varies, nearly dry for Cercial, early for Mamse. And Rutherglen muscat, that stops almost immediately, which is why the sweetness is so concentrated. Earlier fortification makes sweeter wine, later fortification makes drier wine, and sherry, fortified only after fermentation, anchors the dry end of the spectrum. Then comes aging, the second structural pillar. Biological aging in sherry is not about romance, it's about conditions. Floor survives only within narrow alcohol, oxygen, temperature, and humidity ranges. Give it those, and you get wines that are pale, linear, saline, shaped by acid aldehyde. Raise alcohol, remove floor, and you move to oxidative aging, oloroso. Same region, same system, completely different outcome. Madeira takes oxidative development further with heat. Estufa gem accelerates it, Cantiro deepens it over decades. High acidity holds the structure through everything. Port's identity is set early. Short fermentation, intense extraction, spirit at around 6 to 8% alcohol, and that aging determines whether it becomes fruit led ruby or oxidative tawny. Once you understand timing and aging, the categories stop feeling separate. They become variations of a system. Tasting is where many people drift, not because the wines are unclear, but because we start in the wrong place. Aromas are seductive but unreliable. Structure tells the truth. Madeira must show high acidity. Port must show tannin. Sherry almost never does. PX and Rutherglen muscat show weight and viscosity before anything else. Start with structure: acidity, tannin, sweetness, alcohol, texture, and the wine often identifies itself. Then you reach the part of D5 where marks disappear quietly: quality and ageability. Quality needs reasoning, not adjectives. Balance requires showing what is balancing what. Length requires naming the flavor that persists. Complexity requires pointing to layers: primary, oxidative, rancio if relevant. Ageability follows the same logic. Vintage port can age. Madeira can age almost indefinitely. Filtered LBV cannot. Fino loses freshness quickly. Oloroso is already fully developed. PX doesn't gain complexity with time. Structure drives these decisions. This is why D5 feels strict and also why it's so workable once the logic is clear. It is only 5% of the diploma, but if you treat it casually, it becomes 5% you wish you had back. If you meet it with precision, it's one of the cleanest units to score well. And if you want the complete written set of the D5 one pagers and playbooks I referenced in this episode, the exact sheets I use when I teach this unit, you can join the Sommpour Study Circle. The link is shown in this episode. I do hope you enjoyed listening, and I'll see you at the next deep cut.